It was I thought a good team win. Obviously was tough to lose. We lose Cam early in the game. There with that shot, and I think that jarred us a little bit. It was just how much pain he was in and stuff. So that kind of I thought was was a little bit unnerving for our guys. And then I told him in the locker room on a night where I didn't think we were great offensively. We struggled from two, struggled from three, shot 43%. We did a great job of manufacturing points. We got the line 35 times, made 30 free throws, and I thought, our defense carried the way. I thought the defense was that stretch. It seemed like it was 19-14 for about an hour and a half, and we kept getting stops. I think we got 11 or 12 stops in a row to kind of, to keep the lead, and then we just steadily built it. And I thought we had a lot of guys contribute. Obviously, to me, Trent was terrific off the bench. Cooper Neese, job he did on both ends of the floor was fantastic. I thought there was Bledson off the bench. I thought Cade and Jason Kent probably don't have huge numbers in terms of statistical numbers, but both those guys did a lot of good things for us, picking the defense end of the floor. So it's a good win. I think it shows that we're starting to understand what's most important. It's nice when you make 19 threes and all the stuff happens, and but I think these wins as a coach mean more because it means the guys are starting to really internalize what really goes into winning, because you're not going to make 19 threes every night. So this was a good step forward for us.
Is Cameron going to be ready on Wednesday?
We'll see. He's being evaluated. There's a couple things. Obviously, they're going to run some concussion tests on him. If he has a concussion, no. If he goes into protocol, he would not be ready for Wednesday. But and then is there a fracture or anything like that from a facial fracture? So he's being evaluated, and he's in great hands. Kellen and those guys are Dr. Smerick and them are tremendous. So they'll let me know here probably at some point in the next little bit in terms of where he's at. But I know they felt like he was okay to come back in the game, and I didn't feel like in the huddle he looked like he didn't seem to be totally aware. And so, but he went out and played fine. He made a couple free throws, got fouled. And when we took him out, they wound up pulling him. But he originally, when he went through the original concussion protocol, passed it, came back in, and then they pulled him after that.
I'm sure you're well aware of this. This is the first time hitting the 20-win mark since 2014 for the program. It's your second year, but what's kind of your take on what that means to what you guys have done and what you're building? I know there's still plenty of time left too in the season.
Yeah, I mean, 20's I told the guys in there, 20's a significant number. You look at college basketball, he talks about, I don't know, there's a huge difference between 19 wins and 20. So 20's a significant number. I think it's maybe the fifth time here since the 78 season that it's happened. And I told the guys in the locker room that whatever happens from here, with 20 wins, it's been a great season. And I also told them that you can't have a special season unless you perform when it matters most, and those moments are ahead of us, right? So, 20 wins, great season. You want to have a special season, you got to perform when it matters most, and we have that ahead of us. And like I told them, you gotta really work like and believe, and I do really believe for this team, its best moments are in front of us. This team's best moments are ahead of us, not behind us. But it's certainly a great accomplishment. Don't want to minimize that at all. And to win 20 games, to win 13 games in this league, I think that's probably the first time in a long time. I think back maybe 15, 20 years. It's a lot of things this team's done already. Again, it's been a great year, but we want to be a special year. We got to perform here down the stretch, and those moments that matter most, starting with Wednesday, are ahead of us.
Today, the guy filling in for Cam was Trent. And then even late down the stretch against Illinois Chicago on Wednesday, Trent was getting a lot of minutes. He's had strung together like 5 or 6 games that have been really solid off the bench. Has he gained a lot of your trust, and what does that mean moving forward?
Huge amount of trust. Trent's one of those guys. We got guys in the locker room. There's nothing, I said this before, there's nothing harder than being in your senior year and not getting what you want, right? Like Trent came in, I've known him, I competed against him, unbelievable respect for him. He's a great player. He's a first-team academic All-American. He's a graduated college, has a master's degree. He came here to, he was starting, and then he went from starting to not even playing. He didn't get in games, and it's so easy, if you don't have, and the amount of, I don't know if I have the character that he has to kind of, he was an unbelievable teammate. He was practice hard. He was, cheering guys on the bench, And then when he's got his opportunity, he's just stepped in and been tremendous. And he was, I thought, Illinois, Chicago, Voss had those two spurts, and Voss is going to do what Voss does, but Trent was the steadying force there. I thought he and Cooper are two best players today, just tremendous what he's done for us. Again, for him, for guys like Cade, who are playing their senior year and it's not been, perfect for those guys, and not exactly probably what they had assumed when they came here. For those guys to be great teammates, to stay engaged, to press it, and then to stay ready and be ready when their number's called and perform the way they have. It's just a credit to the quality of human beings that we have in that locker room. It's a great locker room, and those two guys, along with the rest, Calix, etc., are a big reason why. Because if you have the wrong guys in those spots, they can tear the team apart from the inside, right? They can absolutely, from within, implode it. And those guys have done nothing but be great teammates and cheer. And then when I've called on them, they've stepped in and played great.
7 straight, and to do it in different ways, kind of like you said today, where you weren't shooting lights out in the first half. I mean, how hard are you to win 7 in a row? Like you said, massive games in front of you, but to hold it together and to win these 7 after that streak, it shows the mental toughness of this team, Coach.
Yeah, I think we've grown in that area. It was I thought kind of a mentally fragile team early in the year. I didn't think we were very mentally tough, and it goes back to that every team's got to kind of go on its own journey, and things aren't a continuum. Just because something was, you can be mentally tough and lose that. You can be like we were, I think, a little soft and become tough. And I don't think you become a team. Everybody talks about that, and you don't become a team until you go through some adversity together, right? I mean that that either splits you apart or galvanizes you. And I think going through that 5-game losing streak and what happened at Drake, I think that kind of forged us as a team. And you look at the team we've been since then, the way we've played second halves, the way we've kind of found different ways to win. I mean, our guys don't get a lot of credit for it, but defensively, going into the day, we're second in the league in defensive efficiency. Behind Bradley, head of Drake, head of Southern Illinois. I mean, it's been a really good over the year defensive team, and today was an example. And then what you want to be, and I think we're getting there, is a team that forges identity on making people play poorly. And if they play poorly and you play great, then you have Murray State. If they play poorly and you don't play great, you have today. And Illinois, Chicago, where I don't think either game we were great, but we won by 19 and 16 because we made those teams play poorly. And while we didn't have our best either, and those teams have to get credit for that, we did enough to win by decent margins.
Coach, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. I mean, the defense all day today, whenever Illinois State kind of came really close, I mean, just 8, 9, 10 points away, it seemed like the Sycamores defense really stepped up. I mean, anything that you could talk about that and just how well of a game this was today? Yeah,
I thought, we talked about it going in. I mean, Illinois State's a really good offensive team. They're explosive. You could see, pockets there in the second half. I mean, Burford, made some tough shots. Poindexter's got, Seneca Knight. They got a lot of weapons. You really got to be locked in defensively and fully engaged from a mental standpoint. I thought our guys did a great job of that. I really did. We had pockets and possessions where we didn't guard great, but when you look at it early, I didn't think we were very good. And then from there, the last 35 minutes, we had little sections here in the second half. But for the most part, I thought we were as dialed in as we could be. I thought we really guarded them, and we made it hard on them. Doesn't mean it was perfect, but we made them earn a lot of their baskets. And to hold a team like that to 64, and they got some late there. I think they had 58 with maybe a minute 20 to go, a minute 15 to go. They got 6 there in that little stretch at the end. But to do that to a really good offensive team, Coach Peden's a really good coach. They got systematically, they're really good. They got good players. I mean, Burford, Poindexter, Seneca Knight, these guys, can really go. Kendall Lewis. They got a lot of weapons that can hurt you. And so our guys were, I thought, turned up, and the defense is what said that stretch where it was 19-14. I think we got around 10 or 11, maybe even 12 stops in a row. And that was able to kind of, where we weren't getting anything going offensively, that allowed us to keep the lead. And then when we did get going, and I thought our guys, we didn't shoot the ball great, but 35 free throws, right? We got the line, we made 30 free throws. So our ability to Julian and certainly Trent, when you look at, Jabo getting downhill, those guys all got downhill, put pressure, and 30 free throws, get a line 35 times, when you're struggling to score. putting your head down and getting the ball to the rim is a good way to go about it. And I thought we did a great job there.
You look at someone like Cooper, who's been here for 6 years. Obviously, a run like this late in February is big to everyone involved in the program. But he's been here for 6 years. He's kind of seen a lot. He's been here to seen a lot of wins, a lot of losses. But to get to 20, be in MVC contention right now, all that kind of mixed in, what's it mean for a guy like him?
I think I couldn't have more respect for Coop. When I came here, he was in the transfer portal, and I heard a lot about him and just being honest, a lot of it wasn't great. His reputation wasn't fantastic, and he is. And I don't think everybody probably was wrong, but his growth as a player, as a person, is just been unbelievable. Maybe the best I've seen in my 25 years of coaching, and he's a true leader. He's a guy that prioritizes winning. He cares about winning. Doesn't care about his stats. Doesn't care about anything other than did we win? Did we lose? He came back. He returned when I got here, and that's not easy. A lot of people bailed, and deserve, rightfully so, right? I mean, it's a different coach, different system, different culture, different everything, and people, they didn't want to be a part of that. And after last year, we lost 20 games, and Coop averaged 15 points a game. It was all Missouri Valley, and Coop graduated, and he could have easily said, you know what, I'm gonna go play my last year at a Power 5. I'm gonna go take some money and go do that. I'm gonna go transfer to wherever, and play my last year. Coop was the first one to announce they were coming back. He did it in February of last year and said, I mean, you're talking about a guy bought into our culture. And he came back for one reason. And we talked about this with him. He has statistically done pretty much everything you could want to do as a player. He's got whatever, 1,300 points, 200 plus threes. I mean, his accomplishments as an individual player. The only thing he hadn't done was win championships, win 20 games, play in the postseason, the team stuff. And he came back for the simple reason that was why he returned for this 6 year. He doesn't need to do it. And I'll say this, like I told him in the front end, we're gonna have to go out and you're gonna have a lesser role. He played 36 minutes a game last year. He shot a gazillion shots at the ball. I mean, he was in a leading role, and he's had to take a back seat to other guys. He's willingly ceded that. Has done everything we've asked him to do, and I couldn't have more respect for him as a player, as a person, than I do for Cooper Neese. Thanks, guys.